Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. Thoughtless, casual gaming. And because I know you love the announcement, we are recording.
Hooray! You are listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. I am Jace.
Shit, who am I? Oh, this just got existential really quickly.
No, I'm Brett. He's Jace, and we are a Geelong-based gaming podcast where we play games badly and then talk shit about them.
Badlier.
That's a word. I think we've set the tone already, haven't we?
I feel like strap yourselves in, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Oh, dear. So Jace has been working overly hard. I've been in pain and on crutches for a couple of days. So bear with us. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, this could be just, who knows? Who knows what you're going to get? Anywho, what have you been up to? What's been going on?
Are we talking hobby or are we talking in general?
Look, if you want to just tell us about the state of affairs.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know the state of affairs. I had an interesting week last week where I had a couple of days off, not feeling overly well. Then I got up, went to work the next day with a bit of pain in my leg from about 10 o'clock in the morning. And then as the day went on, it got steadily worse. And by 11 o'clock, I was in a lot of pain and said to the wife, you probably should take me to hospital. I spent 13 hours there and with not much sleep during that 13 hours. But anyway, and the doctors couldn't work out what was wrong. So I've still got pain in my leg. And so I'm trying to keep off it on the crutches, but the crutches, or the crunches, as my kids call them. Dad, show us your crunches. I'm like, no, not right now.
Yeah, it's not time for an ab workout.
No. But yeah, so I forgot about this. I haven't been on crutches since I was a kid. And God almighty, they hurt your wrists. Like, I'm pretty sure it bruised underneath my armpits, and my wrist on my right hand is killing me. So I'm trying to alternate at the moment and use the crutches a bit and not use them a bit and rest the wrist. And it's just been a fun fucking time. But yeah, that's my life right now.
Huzzah.
Yeah. So there's been less hobby in the last, what's it been, 2.5 weeks?
Yep.
Than I would like. Part of that is the fact that it was pretty much impossible for me to get up the stairs to my little man cave for a couple of days. So we lost a couple of more days on the whole painting track. I think I'm at 27 days. I think now I'm recording or keeping track of the days that I don't paint, because the days that I do paint is like it's still at 150 odd.
That's several, yeah.
But I think I'm up to about 27 days this year that I have not put paint on model.
That's still solid. That is still.
Yeah, no, I'm still proud. We're sitting at 83 models painted this year. And if you think way back when I was talking at the end of last year, start of this year, last year I did 84 models. So I'm so close, and we're sitting here in the middle of July. So
this is it. It's tax time, and we're already topping last year.
So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to beat last year. Pretty sure.
It would be very upsetting if you didn't from this point. From like not beating next year would have to be like a real Stephen Bradbury effort.
Yeah, nah. Aim is not to do that. So, hobby-ish wise, I'll talk a little bit about TV, because I have done quite a bit of TV with my time off.
I feel like that's allowed.
I think so. So I did finish Jupiter's Legacy.
That one
on Netflix. Yes, really, really fucking enjoyed that.
Okay.
Like, to the point where I think I mentioned that I'd bought like the first book or two.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 books so far, and I've bought and read all 4 because I enjoyed the show that much. The show's pretty good in that it keeps aspects of the book but sort of expands on them in a good way.
Okay.
So the books are, the 4 books are like 5 or 6 comics in each book. So it's not a long series at all. And there's a lot in the books that is still to come, and I cannot wait to see how they do it. So hopefully there's a season 2 of that. I did also get a lot of feedback on Invincible, which is on Amazon Prime. Similar sort of thing, a superhero, son of a superhero coming into his powers, learning how to use them, learning how to become a hero. It's 8 episodes long. It's got a huge voice cast. So Seth Rogen's in an episode or 2. J.K. Simmons plays the dad. The Glenn from Walking Dead is the main character, and there's just seems to be like known actors playing voice parts, which was great. Wasn't as good as I was hoping. Hasn't made me go out and pick up the book, but currently the book is like $90 and is like a phone book. So I don't see myself managing to read that with any sort of degree of comfort. So I haven't picked that up. But it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't the same level as Jupiter's Legacy for me. Apart from that, I was going to say I was completely up to date, but today is a Wednesday, so I have not watched today's episode of Loki, but I have watched all the others.
Yeah. You and me both. I think this is the finale, yes?
Yes. Last episode went up today, so I will most likely watch that tomorrow. No. We've got stuff on tomorrow.
Yeah.
It might have to be Friday.
I'm trying to work out how I can do it tomorrow. Anyway, we'll see.
But how cute was Alligator Loki?
It was the best. What was possibly more amazing than Alligator Loki was how quickly 3D printable files appeared online.
Oh, really?
Like the same day someone had put a helmet on an alligator.
Well, the pops are coming out, so I've seen pictures of those at work, and I think Alligator Loki is going to be the newest thing.
Yeah, it'll be a yes.
Yeah, but enjoying Loki. It's still not.
I'm still waiting for the thing.
Like first half of WandaVision was definitely my favorite. Let's just ignore the last couple of episodes of WandaVision, but and Falcon and Winter Soldier was kind of level.
It was consistent, yeah.
So neither great, neither too bad.
But I feel like that's why it's on TV and it's not a movie too. Let's true. Not.
Speaking of movies, I went to watch Black Widow the other day.
Oh, and they realised they're charging you $30 or whatever it is.
$35. I'm like, maybe I'll wait.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be good. I'm hearing nothing but good things about it. So
yeah, I don't want to pay $35, and I don't really want to wait till Christmas or whatever the hell. I think it's November or something.
Oh, God knows.
It goes on to standard. It's stupid.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't really want to go into a cinema either, because we're going to go into another lockdown shortly. Like it's going to happen.
No, I'm ignoring it.
It's going to happen. It was only a matter of time. 7 new cases today. It's going to be worse. So
it's when the football match that they let all the people into is the hot spot. And it's not even that they let all the people into it because they had caps and whatnot, but it's like, we can only have like 30%. But if you 30% of people can all sit in exactly the same area, yeah. Seemingly defeats the purpose. I just work here. I don't know.
Yeah. They've got a case in Bacchus Marsh as well. So
oh God.
It's getting closer. So it's only a matter of time. So I'm just hoping that they don't announce it this week because I've got a very full Saturday and I don't want that to stop.
No, I'm very keen for Saturday to happen, even though I'm not attending.
Yeah. Well, I've got Dr. Colossus that night as well. Ooh. So I am very eager. First gig I've been to, touch wood, first gig I'm going to for a while. It's already been rescheduled once, so hopefully they don't just lock us down this week and have to reschedule that again because I really want to see them. I reckon it'll be fun. Anywho, so Loki, more or less up to date, barring today's episode. And then I've started watching a couple of other things, only briefly. Like last night, I was tired. I was in bed by 8 o'clock or something, but not prepared to sleep at that point. So I started rewatching Good Omens.
Oh, such a good series.
Look, I got about 3 episodes in a while ago. And then for lack of time or whatever, I didn't go back. So I'm starting again. So I watched the first episode again last night.
So good.
Watched it with the wife, and I think she got into it a lot more than I expected. So that'll be hopefully something that I can watch with her. The other thing I started, but I only got through half an episode before I got interrupted, which I want to go back, is Marvel's MODOK.
I keep seeing this going, I should watch this.
From the half episode I saw, it's pretty much their version of Harley Quinn, from what I can see.
Okay.
A lot of swearing and offbeat comedy. Like, it starts off with a battle between, MODOK's trying to take over the world, whatever, and Iron Man shows up and defeats him, but MODOK got away with Iron Man's boot, so he's calling it a win. So it looks like something that I want to continue on with. But it's halfway through the first episode, so we will see.
I'm interested.
I got interrupted by my brother coming around with his family, and so
rude.
More young children, so that had to get turned off. Hobby-wise, not an awful lot. Like I said, I did finish the Treeman and the Halflings for my Halfling team.
Yay.
So the Treeman I finished quicker than I thought I would. And I continued on. I've done up the last 3 Halflings that I had put together. So I still do have 2 Halflings without a head. But if I get said heads for those, then I'll have to paint those up as well.
Yep. Speaking of, I have said heads just sitting on my desk here.
It wasn't a hint or anything. It was
but they're here.
Excellent. I've also started on my vampires. When I say started, I mean I've done 1 color on 1. So
that's a start. That is a start.
But I really want to follow the GW design for the vampires, because I think in particular the red looks really good on them. But I was a couple of paints short of what I needed. So I had a little delivery tonight, and so I have my hands now on the paints that I wanted. So
when you say you're a couple of paints short, were they because you had paints and you no longer have paints in your possession?
No.
Oh, good. So what I'm hearing, not my fault. Good.
Not your fault. They're not the contrast paints that you have, although some of them will be needed at a later point.
Yep.
But in particular, like, there was the really nice red that they get is by using a particular base paint that they've got. So the Gal 4 back red, which I believe is a newish one. So I didn't have it, and I definitely want to try and get the same sort of red, so I've gone for that. I've done a little bit more work on my little shaman orc as well for Underworld, so he's got pretty much mostly base paints.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so he's starting to take shape. The only other thing I've really done, and like, nobody's going to listen to this, so it's fine, but I spent a little bit of time at work going through the Blood Bowl website that we use and making sure that everything was up to date for 2020 rules. And while doing so, I found that all the teams, but most of these teams have, like, you may have one big guy, and some of the teams will say you can have one of the following. So, for Chaos Chosen, you could have a rat ogre or a minotaur, or an ogre, or something along those lines.
Or a troll, or whatever it is.
Anyway, you're allowed one of those. So the website had, you may have up to one big guy, but none of the positions were listed as big guys. So now I've changed it so that all the big guys are listed as big guys on the website. So those will come into place.
Yep.
I tested it out by creating a new team for potentially next season, which when I tried to buy too many big guys, it said no, not allowed, which was good. So the website works the way it's supposed to, kind of. Said team, which is ogres, I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one, can have up to 6 ogres, and the website goes up to 4 as maximum. So you can have up to 4 of these, or you can have as many as the positions allow. And I tried that, and that came up as 0. So I had to make it 4, but I'm not going to go more than 4 anyway with the 7s team, so I'm not going to make a difference.
Well, no, perfect.
But yeah, that's me. How about yourself?
Wow. Can we just, before we come up...
No, talk about you.
While we're talking about website things, though, while we're talking about the website, can we all just take a moment to appreciate the fact that I actually got my match results correct? Anyway.
Mostly.
What do you mean mostly? I won't stand for this. I fucking nailed that. Anyway.
You did mostly well. I only changed a couple of things. So the website that we use for our Blood Bowl results, for 7s, any member of your team that doesn't get star play points, because they're in 7s, they're the amateurs.
Yeah.
But the website still allocates.
So you're just zeroing out.
So I can't zero them out, but what I can do is make the first star player, the first skill at a higher level. Right. So, for example, I think it was on James's team. So there was a goblin that scored.
Yep.
So he had 3-star player points. So technically the website was allowing him to roll a random skill. So I just made that 3 into 18 needed. So now he's got negative 15 before he can get to anything.
Roll around. Yeah, okay, cool.
But apart from that, all good.
That wasn't me entering them incorrectly. Let's just call that out.
No, anyway. That was just me doing all the extra bits that apparently needs to be done. Which reminds me, I need to touch base with the guy that does this website and find out if there's a 7s option that he can put in.
I remember him talking about it, but I haven't seen anything. Anywho, what have I been doing? Let's just go through. Whoa, back it up. Apart from exceptionally accurate entering of results,
yes. Carry on.
Hobby stuff. So painting. Look, I know I said last time there was going to be infinite amounts of hobby done and results and stuff, and unfortunately,
there was a promise.
Work decided to just sodomize that promise a little bit. So we're going to rain check on that one, and it's coming. But even with that, I've still done a fair amount on the snotlings. So they're sitting in front of me. I'm doing that thing, though, where I get to like 3/4 finished, and then you start fucking around with detail and extra stuff. I could just get them done and have them finished and call it a day. But as an example, I spent last night re-highlighting all of their noses and ears so I could glaze them with like a little bit of a red tone. So they go like a little bit red on the nose and the ears. So that was cute. Last night. It's cute and I like it, and it's a good thing. So it's just taking longer than I expected it to do because I expected myself just to get it done. And I got to nearly done. And I went, oh, what if I'm just going to try and I'm just going to do this little thing. Anywho, and at some stage I need to sculpt a fried egg, which is the next problem.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely has to happen though. I'm 100% on board. So the snotlings are mostly done. And probably the biggest thing with that is how disappointed I am that I am enjoying using contrasts on them.
One of us.
Really having fun. And
now, how are you using the contrasts? Are you using them just more or less in total, or are you doing sort of layers up afterwards?
So the way I've basically done it is I started with the Zenithal kind of prime, standard kind of deal. And I used them for the base coat, step one, happy days. So that was not super thick, the way that they sort of say, one thick coat, because I wanted to keep that kind of zenithal highlight situation. So did all that, then went back and did a little bit more shading, either with the same one or with a slightly darker version. So I was using like a purple to shade some of the pink and a red to shade the orange and stuff like that. So did a bit of that. Then went back in with an actual paint, Vallejo Ice Yellow, and highlighted everything. And then I've gone back over with the contrast to sort of glaze the highlight back and pull it back in. And it is really like just simple. It's been really easy to do, and it's literally been sort of base, shade, highlight, bit of a play over the top. But they've just been fun. Like it hasn't felt like an effort painting.
I really like that about the contrast, and like I've been playing around with them for a while. And like I've said in previous ones, sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. But I seem to be getting it more right than wrong these days.
Yeah,
especially by using them as the base and then working my way up on. I mean, some parts I might not even need to work my way up, like the crypt guy from Curse City. Yep. His skin is just the white contrast, but because it's sort of a greyish white over the grey sear base coat, it just works so well.
Yeah. And look, I haven't tried them with any of the dedicated base, like the primers or anything. So I had no idea what they look like or how they operate over them, but I'm just finding things like, all right, straight for a base coat, because they go on so easily. Like they're easy to apply to big areas, base coat, big chunks of space, like happy days. They blend really, really easily. So I'm finding just, to get pretty smooth gradients and transitions and stuff, it's not hard. And I was even playing last night, just dicking around when I'd sort of run out of time. And I was just like, I'll just do something else, like your trick of trying to wet blend them across stuff. I just pulled a couple of the little tokens out from the bloodbowl team.
Yep.
So I went, hey, let's just try this. And even that, like, I suppose the only thing I found is that, I mean, they're an acrylic paint. They still dry relatively quickly. So the only challenge I hit is if you let them sit for a little bit too long while you're doing that blending, you end up taking paint off. But, lesson learned. Work quickly. It's an acrylic. That's just kind of the rule. And then as a glaze and as a shade and things like that, like they just keep really nice pigment. So you keep the intensity of their color, but they're just really easy to thin right down, get transparent, and use as like a stronger wash or just to tint stuff. And as I said, it's just been fun. So I'm having this really disappointing moment where I'm like, fuck, am I going to have to buy some of these bastards? Because I can't just hijack yours forever. And I feel like they probably aren't the best option for mixing stuff. So you probably can't just grab like 3 or 4, sort of primary colors or whatever and kind of wing it from there. I kind of feel like just the way that they operate, you're probably going to have to grab a few, which upsets me a little bit because, at what are they, $13 a bloody pot or something stupid?
I don't know if they're that much, but I mean, it's been a while since I bought one because I've got pretty much all the ones I want.
Yeah.
I did find that, you could sort of blend them a little bit to create better colors. Like, for example, I was using, because I didn't have the orange, I was using the yellow and the red and mixing them together. But sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. So I ended up buying the orange anyway.
Yeah. Which is lovely, by the way. And I'm really happy with the orange that came out. So, look, it's been fun. I have learned that the bases I had printed for the Snotlings, I probably scaled down a little bit too small for some, because they came from a scenery Kickstarter I backed.
Yep.
And it was actually supposed to be like a cavern floor. And I just went, I'll take that cavern floor and I'll shrink it down to 25 mil so it fits on a base. But the cavern floor, that bit's okay. Well, some of them have little mushrooms all over them. Mm-hmm. And when you shrink the little mushrooms down on top of the cushion, like, they printed fine, but every time I pick one up, it breaks a fucking mushroom.
Okay.
So I've left mushrooms from arsehole to breakfast, but that's I don't massively care. It's not a massive issue, but it was just more, okay, there's a learning. But yeah, as I said, the biggest thing for me is just being really relaxing, just playing with these and just seeing what comes out. And, I'm finding, for non-metallic metal stuff and just for, big old base coats and really easy sort of shading and glazing and transitions, it's just been a lot of fun. So I'm angry at life right now. The other thing while I have been painting is just sort of having YouTube on in the background or something just to keep it going. But watching a guy called Marco and a James Wapple videos and stuff using oil paints. And I have a whole set of oil paints here, and I bought them fully planning on using them. I've used a couple for like little effects here and there and bits and shits. But these guys are using oil paints as the almost, their go-to paint for painting miniatures at the moment, as opposed to acrylics. And just watching some of the stuff they do and how it looks and how easy it looks to play with, I'm like, that's definitely the next project. I need to actually bust these out and give them a red hot go painting some whole models rather than just using washes and sort of little weathering effects here and there. So I am pretty pumped but mildly nervous because it's just it's different. It's a different way of painting and a different style of painting. So it's going to be a bit of an experiment. So I've got to find something I can kind of maybe ruin because I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's kind of been the hobby stuff. The only other thing of value that I did in actual hobby things was building Underworld's decks. I decided to give the High Elves, that are now called something different, a go. So they're currently sitting primed in front of me, and they are a prime candidate for my oil paint experiments. So we'll see how that plays out. But
how many of them are there? What,
four? Yeah.
That's nice and straightforward.
Yeah, and I've got a pretty simple scheme in mind that I kind of want to try out. And I think it'd be a good test, but we'll see. But I'm having that whole issue with Underworld's deck building, and that A, I'm not very good at it, and B, most of the cards I own have been cycled out of the competitor. So I can't be bothered with all the different formats. So I just stick to the championship format, thinking it's the one that's most likely to have people with decks built for. Mm-hmm. And the problem I've got is the online tools that are available, or the online options you've got available, because that's the only way to build a deck, in my view. If you say you want a championship deck, they go, right, well, you can't use the cards from any of these. But cards like Hold Objective 1, per se, has been reprinted and redone in another box option thing that I don't own, but I do own Hold Objective 1 from the original Shadespire box.
Yeah.
But the website tells me that I can't use it, because even though it's been reprinted in a future one, I don't own the future reprinting of Hold Objective 1. I own the old, unable to be used Hold Objective 1. And it's too fucking hard to work out what I can and can't use.
Because those ones get reprinted pretty much. I think they were in the first three.
Yep.
They weren't in...
they weren't in Beastgrave.
No, they were in Beast Grey. They weren't in Giant Chasm.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that when number 5 comes out, whatever that's going to be called, hopefully something with Chasm in it, they will be reprinted there. Because I think you're always going to have whole objectives.
Absolutely. So the long story short is, I own those cards. They are legal cards to have, but because I don't own the box with the legal version in it, the website tells me I can't use it, and it's very confusing.
Gotcha.
And I think I've got to a stage where I've made it, and then I cracked the SADs and went, this will do. Either this is valid or it's not, and I'm not even checking. So that's about the only actual sort of hobby-related stuff. Beyond that, stuff that has happened, I bought something. It is currently illuminating my desk in the most amazing way.
It's very illuminating.
It is, yeah. And I put it up higher. It is glorious. So I bought a new lamp for my painting space, and it's the best thing in the world. And I
love lamp.
I didn't tell my wife how much it cost, and that's even better.
So this is the not Bunnings one.
No, I decided not to go the Bunnings option. So it was more than double 2 of the Bunnings options. Yeah, that's right.
More than double.
Yeah. So it's a quadruple Bunnings lamp. It is the greatest investment I've ever made, and I'm not regretting it for a second. So not only is it huge, does it light like 1,000 suns, but I previously had like 2 painting lamps, one on either side, sort of of my painting desk, throwing in so I wasn't getting shadows and stuff. And I've been able to get rid of those, so it's actually given me more space as well.
Oh, that's good.
So I've got this one sort of giant lamp overhead that I can angle whatever, so I'm not even working in my own shadow or anything. And I've got the space that 2 lamps were taking up on my desk free again. And it's just arousing. So
taking I Love Lamp to another level.
Can recommend the Lumi task lamp. Do yourselves a favor if you want to spend $250 on a lamp. Anywho, that has been my sole and only purchase because guilt has stopped me from anything else after spending that much on a lamp. And then out of absolute nowhere, which is glorious, Stonebeard Miniatures, who is an Australian-based supplier of sort of busts and display painting pieces and plinths and that kind of stuff. So no gaming stuff, but they stock the Scale 75 artist colors, and they do a whole bunch of display models for painting as an Australian supplier, and which is the best in the world, because you can't, like, being in Australia before these guys are around, you were buying from the UK and you're buying from everywhere. You're buying from Spain and all this kind of shit. It was really hard to get models for display purposes. So all of a sudden having an Australian stockist for this stuff is pretty exciting. So when he came along, I bought some stuff off him. He backed the Kickstarter for a recent Kickstarter, and then basically put those models up for pre-order as part of his Kickstarter option. So I bought some of those, and then he ran a competition for everyone who had bought stuff through his store. And out of absolute nowhere, I ended up as the lucky recipient of the random prize for this competition. So Stonebeard Miniatures and Veiled Lamp, who is an Australian sculptor of, again, sort of display models. There's sort of 2 or 3 pieces he's done so far. So I ended up scoring a copy of the Veiled Lamp Persephone sculpt, which is amazing because, firstly, it's an incredible sculpt. Seb, who sculpted it, also painted it and won the Crystal Dragon last time that was on at CanCon, which is the Australian sort of display comp. So it's an amazing, but it's also, they've only done sort of 100 or so of these casts to sell. So it's a numbered piece. It's nuts.
Is that the one that arrived? You were saying about how it arrived in like this amazing box.
Yeah. So it shows up in this sort of incredible box with like hessian around it and this like little, I think it's a pomegranate jewel fucking charm thing off it, and then it's the whole thing's stuffed with like shaved wood. It's not sort of packing foam or anything. It's this like really nice wood shavings and everything, and it's glorious. It comes with a little, handwritten note saying thanks for being an amazing person. So I have a note saying that I'm an amazing person is the moral of the story there.
Don't believe everything you read.
But yeah, completely out of the blue, forgetting, it was one of those things. It's like this post and buy something from us. And I had just done both of those anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of the blue, got a message from Jim, who runs Stonebeard, saying, "Oh, what's your address? Is it still this? I got something to send you." So that was pretty damn amazing. So massive shout out to those guys as well. It's super appreciated. I'm terrified about what I'm going to do with this model, and we'll see where that goes. But that, I think, is pretty much, that's kind of all the stuff I've done.
That's still an effort. Still an effort, especially being as busy as you have been. You did remind me of a couple of things too. So I have put together. I had my Vampires deck put together, but I put together a couple of Arena Mortis decks for Underworlds. So Sepsimus, the prolapsed anus Nurgle guy, I have an Arena Mortis deck for him, and also for Scritch, who is the greatest. Yes. The other thing, you may be interested, I definitely did not spend time today, definitely not looking at Marvel Crisis Protocol miniatures.
Yes.
I've been listening to another episode of Fury's Finest, and some of the stuff they were talking about, I was like, yes, I want to play that model.
Dare I ask?
Mr. Sinister.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And also from the way they were talking about Scarlet Witch, I'm like, oh. And she comes with Quicksilver. Oh. And then I was thinking about Beast at one point. Oh, let's look at those again. I didn't pull the trigger because I've got an Ogre Blood Bowl team to pick up, and I got some paints today. But
fortunately, I know where an Ogre Blood Bowl team is currently in stock.
I know where one is sitting, waiting for me to pick up on Saturday.
This does not surprise me in the slightest. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it. I'll stop jumping in now.
No, I like the jumping in. That's what I've done. That's what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
We've done some other stuff while we were there. But do we want to talk about that now, or do we want to talk about that after?
Let's talk about that after.
Okay, we'll talk about that after. After what exactly?
Well, I don't know. I don't think we've said any lyrics or anything yet, have we?
No, I'm almost disappointed. All right, I'll wait for us because we will say something after anyway. And the good thing about the time continuum is that I will know what we said after before the music has to play.
Yes. And
therefore we'll be able to just use the future's ramblings to inform the past.
That sounds like a crazy person.
It's the days of future past here.
Singing Baby Shark.
No, that is not the lyrics that we're using.
No, worth a shot. All right.
Let's take a quick break and we'll move on with our lives.
Okay.
Seek you
know there's no countdown. We just go. We're back.
Oh, yeah. Go.
Go. Quick. Cast the pods.
Welcome back.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So we have a couple of things to talk about this podcast. We have actually done some gaming of note. Gaming things, let's put it that way. The first one that we should talk about is the Geelong Town Open.
That was an event. It was a 40k tournament that happened on a weekend gone by. So don't try and enter it now. It's too late. You've missed that.
It's over.
That ship
Unless
has sailed.
you can go back in time, like some sort of time variance person.
A DeLorean owning. So it depends. Like, are we playing time variance authority rules? Are we playing Back to the Future rules? Are we playing Terminator rules?
You'd have to be playing Back to the Future rules, really, so that you could change things.
Yeah, because the time variance one you'd get nuked.
Yeah. And look, the GTO was an event that's probably not worthy of being nuked. Let's put it that way.
It was good. Like, let's not get us wrong. Just don't get nuked for it.
No. All right, let's cut the shit. So yeah, it happened over Saturday. Sunday, it was 5 rounds of 40k, 2,000 points a team, and each game was 3 hours long, I believe.
Oh my God, that's a long time. Anyway,
it is a long weekend. Like I've played numerous card game tournaments in my time, and that's like usually a day.
Yeah.
And the amount of thinking you have to do in that.
Oh, look, my heyday was back. So 40k jumped to 5 game tournaments pretty early in the piece. So you'd have 3 games on day 1 and 2 games on day 2, and you'll go home early, and it was great. Warhammer Fantasy never did that. They went, no, if you can fit 3 games in a day, you play 3 games in a day. So we played 6 game tournaments constantly. So it was 2 days, 3 games a day. And I used to go home broken. Like,
it just melts your
destroyed. It was the best. I couldn't possibly hope to do that now.
No, I don't know. There's talk. We've been talking. Other people have been talking with us about potential one-day things.
1 day is okay. 2 days.
It's still going to melt my brain. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't back it up on a second day.
No,
too old for that shit.
No, that's it. 44 players they had.
That is,
which is a huge turnout.
That is. I'm also impressed that they got 40-something players. So it was a 40-player, 40k event.
There's a synergy there.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah, so the guys at Target Acquired were nice enough to invite us to do the painting competition.
Nice enough, foolish enough, I don't know. But yeah.
One of the two. I mean, when they asked for the little ad that they put up about us, they asked for pictures of my best painted models. And the first thing that went through my head was best is a relative term, knowing full well that my models would be situated next to pictures of your models. So it was nice that they invited me.
I never saw that ad, by the way.
Didn't you?
No.
It was really nice. I liked it.
Oh, I missed it. I'm going to have to go back and find it.
I'll forward it on to you.
Yeah, cheers.
So yeah, we judged 40-odd players on their painting on what was it, like 8 different subjects?
Yeah, so look, it was actually a really nice way to score painting, because they didn't just go, hey, go and pick your favorite. They didn't say this. Actually kind of, they put some science behind it. So there was actually a criteria. So it was stuff like, is the whole army painted? Step 1. Is it a cohesive paint scheme? Is there basic shading and highlighting? And then it kept going through, and you get extra things going. Is there freehand or conversions or kit bashing, or can you tell the units apart? When they're the same kind of units and that kind of stuff. So they actually went through and gave us some really sort of solid criteria to judge consistently,
which was fantastic for me, having very little experience in this regard, to actually have like a score sheet to go through, and it made sense.
And the flip side is it wasn't just a yes, no. There was kind of a little bit of wiggle room. Like a lot of them were out of 5, for example. Was there freehand? Like if one model had freehand, maybe you'd give them a 2 or a 3. If there was heaps of it throughout the whole army, you'd give them a 5. So there was kind of room to still have some opinion and some subjectiveness and some, actual judging, as opposed to just going yes, no down a line as well. So I think it was a really good balance.
Yeah, definitely. And it was an effort for us, obviously, because we had 40 plus players to go through within a lunch break. I think it took me an extra like 15 minutes into the second round to get through all of the ones.
And look, part of that was the effort of going through 44 players in their armies. And the other half of that was probably the piece I'd forgotten about doing tournament organizer stuff and just how fucking hard it is to herd cats. Because the clear instructions were, we're about to have lunch. When you finish your game, set up your army on the table that it is currently on, and we will be scoring for paint. And some players did exactly as asked, and they finished their game and they set up their army. They put a little name tag next to it so we knew who was whose, and then they fucked off and had lunch. And then others packed their army up, and some just threw it in a tray next to it. Others set them up on the table and then didn't put their name near it.
The majority of people did the right thing. It was just some of them I had to describe as Necron player on table 13 blue scheme or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
and
just pulling that.
And so I'm quite happy to judge paint stuff, but it was really testing my 40k knowledge, because there were some armies there that didn't exist back when I played 40k. So I'm like, the army with the winged things painted in a red and yellow, and like just giving excessive explanations of what the army looked like, because I had no bloody idea what it was. So there was a little bit of that, but super fun just to go through over the lunch break, chat to a whole bunch of people playing games and super keen about playing 40k, look at all of the pretty shit that people had done.
So much pretty shit. Like, there was so many. By the end of it, I was like, there was not a one standout winner to me. There were a couple which I was thinking, God, it could be any of these 10, really.
Yeah,
there was some very nice models there. Like, I think there was, but there was 1 or 2 Eldar armies which I really loved the look of, and I'm not an Eldar player. Like, I never have been. Elves in anything are not my style. But some of the effort that these guys went to was just phenomenal, and great work to everyone, and kudos.
Yeah. And look, not just the effort in, like, just painting an army is effort, right? Like, just getting, especially, it's an army game. That is a huge effort. But when you had people doing display boards and custom bases for everything, and, a couple of people had like army fluff presented and this kind of shit as well. So they'd written up whole background stories for their why their army existed and stuff. Super cool just to see people dive in head first to that hobby side of things and just really lean into it. So it's really challenging not to get excited about it, is the moral of the story there.
My only regret about the day is, obviously we were under time constraints and all the rest of it, but the last 5 points were for anything else, like anything that was not listed above, that was above and beyond. And I kept mine fairly consistent. There were a couple of things that I saw, so I'd give them, each army that had done that, I'd give X amount of points to, or whatever. There were other things, and this is after you'd gone for the day, but Dave came up to me, he goes, "Is this you?" And you'd written like plus 1 point for an excessive amount of pink on one of them.
Yep.
And I was like, why the fuck did I not think of that? I should have been giving, like that one in particular, I should have given extra points for pink.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't.
Like I just wanted to punch a wall after I saw you'd done that because I wanted to have done that.
Oh man, I was giving points out like it was going out of fashion for all kinds of bullshit things. I'm like, especially because the rest of it was so consistent, right? And in a lot of instances, like you had people who had painted almost all of their army, or you could see that they'd pulled one or two models in from another army or something like that to make up the force and things like that. But there was just cool shit amongst it. So I really enjoyed that kind of freebie 5 points, just to giving out one or two for just little things, especially when you knew somebody wasn't going to max out. They're probably not going to compete for the best painted award, but let's just call out cool shit. Like, it was fun.
Oh, I love it. So overall 2 days of massive 40k playing. So well done to everybody that came. 40 odd people is a huge turnout. The top three. So Sam Dutney won with Admech. Number 2 was Reese with Admech as well. So the two
that was the army I didn't know what it was.
Is that the
Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. And then third was Boyd with Necron. So there were quite a few Necron players that I saw. There were a few armies that I saw that I didn't expect to see as many, and I was disappointed I didn't see a Sisters army.
Yeah. I was surprised at the spread in armies and not knowing anything at all about the current meta, but I thought there was more Necron players than I expected. That being said, I have no idea what the new Necron release looked like. There was an appropriate amount of Marine players that we expected that, but I think Dark Elder surprised me. There was a shit ton of Dark Elder players, and I didn't know they were still a thing. So yeah, it was kind of cool just seeing people taking the stuff that they wanted, I assume. But yeah, a real big mix of stuff that people had done.
I did get a kick out of Shane's Gene Stealer Cult Army. It was nice to see the Gene Stealers there.
It was, I mean, I still got to rip on Fox for not doing his Tyranids. That being said, he ran the Necrons that he'd bashed out, and that actually come up a trait. So
yeah, they were really nice.
That was a winner. Got to see Clint's Chaos Demons with all their lights in their full glowiness, which was super cool because I've seen infinity pictures of them, but I don't think I've managed to pick one up yet. And actually being able to go in and have a good look was a winner. And I can't believe you put LEDs and all that. Fuck that amount of effort.
I know, right? I know. So some really nice armies. So end of the day, end of the results, the player's choice went to Jared with his Death Guard. Best presented, which was the one that we voted on, went to Dave with Blood Ravens, and they were very pretty.
They were so pretty. I gushed over them a fair amount, and I suppose the Death Guard, if it's the army I'm thinking of, and I'm pretty sure it is, had a massive display board. There was a super cool army with like heaps of weathering, but not just. Sometimes people weather stuff and they just smear sort of brown and grimy shit all over everything, and it kind of looks samey. Like, this was done really well in that it had sort of the right kind of weathering in the right places. Like, it made sense. He'd still smashed, like, he still had a whole bunch of sort of decals and stuff that you could see, but they'd all been weathered over, so they'd started to chip off and do all that kind of cool stuff. So there was heaps of cool shit. And then it was probably a toss-up for me between those two for the best painted. But the Blood Ravens, it was just a level of consistency across everything. Like, he had these, I think they were like 3 big old dreadnoughts is kind of the centerpiece that were just mind-blowing. It's so well done, but it was just how consistent everything was across the board. And you can't really hide. Like, there wasn't a lot of weathering or sort of chipping, or like there was a little bit, but there was no room to hide any mistakes, or everything was super clean. So I had to give massive props for taking on a scheme like that. And, not only that, but keeping like a sort of a darker muted red and keeping it really, really striking. Super challenging. So really pretty.
Yeah.
Very pretty.
Overall, I think it was a cracking success. I got Dave to give me pretty much a rundown of it, and I do want to pretty much read this word for word because I think this is just a great summary of the weekend. So all in all, it was a fantastic weekend. The players were amazing, and all the work we put in was greatly appreciated. This is our third year in a row going from 12 to 20 players, then jumping to 40 players was a huge step. Looking back, there is a lot of room for improvement. We didn't expect a 10 out of 10 event in the slightest, but we are certainly happy to have taken the GTO to the next level in terms of growth. And I think that is absolutely true. And if you're at all interested, and if you're in the Geelong area, keep an eye on Target Acquired, because they are just going to go from strength to strength with these tournaments. They're going to, everything is a step up from the previous one.
Yep. And look, that's probably the benefit to having the same people running events consistently, because you start to just incrementally improve little things between events. And like, I remember when I was running events, there was one year where just entering scores for a player would give you a score sheet, and entering it was a pain in the ass. And during that event, I realized that the biggest problem is the order that I'd put all of the different things that players had to enter on the score sheet, and the order that I'd put them in the computer system were not the same.
Oh no.
So it was like little things like that, but you just iron out all those little tiny things that just give you hiccups. And it just, events just become like players don't necessarily notice it, but it just becomes so much easier, and and seems more professional, and everything just runs really smoothly because you've got someone who's just got the experience that those little things aren't a problem. They aren't tripping them up anymore. So it's super cool to see them just consistently running these events and just incrementally lifting the bar. The other thing, having a chat to Dave over the weekend, the other thing he was talking about is how keen Target Acquired are to sort of help and support other people to run events. Like, it's exhausting. They don't want to have to do it all the time for everything. So they were sort of super keen to say, if people in the Geelong region wanted to run events for different games, doesn't really matter what, they're super keen to help and support it. And, if they can supply tables or scenery or, help with tournament setup and, that kind of stuff as well. Like, they kind of want to create a little bit of a community of people who can share resources and skills and experience and everything, and actually sort of grow the maturity of the community as one that runs sort of events and tournaments as well. So I thought that was a really cool outlook for them to go, look, they're here and they're doing their own thing and it's super cool, but what else can they do to help other people as well? So it's that real kind of acknowledging that, the cross-pollination and osmosis you get from having gamers just interact is a win for everyone. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So well done, Dave and crew, for a great weekend. Super
weekend. Well done to everyone who, put in the effort to get armies painted and done and showed up to that thing, because there was some super pretty stuff. And like, disappointingly, by the end of it, I'm there going, I've got a 40k army sitting in the cabinet. Like, I'm not showing up to a tournament. That's a lot of effort. But I wonder, could I maybe? I felt dirty.
Watch this space.
There was a message back and forth with Dave while we were talking about the tournament and the wrap up and everything that he did, and I'm just like, so I've got an army sitting in it. Is it legal? Could I run that now? Is that an army? And he was just like, oh, what have you got? And, okay. Yeah, okay. So I don't need to get anything or really buy anything or, whatnot. And he's like, oh, don't ask that, because we're going to go off the deep end if you start asking what you should add to it. But if you want to put it on the table, that's a thing that we can do. Like, motherfucker. Anyway.
So, yeah, that may happen.
Look, if you walk out of an event excited to play the game, I think it's a success.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. We have more Blood Bowl 7s to talk about.
If you are sick of hearing us talk about Blood Bowl 7s, just turn off now because you're about to get a shit ton of it in your ear holes. I said, I'm a little bit excited about 40K. You know what I'm fucking excited about is Blood Bowl 7s.
It still surprises me how. I mean, I still love Blood Bowl.
I might never play the full version again.
I'm really enjoying 7 so much that, I think I've said this before, and I've got a dozen Blood Bowl boards, but if they start bringing out race specific Blood Bowl 7 boards,
you're fucked,
man, because I love those race specific boards. And if there were 7 versions, for example, picking up the ogres for potentially next season,
you need an ogre board.
I'm never going to play ogres in the full game, I don't believe. So I don't need the ogre board for them. But if there was a 7s ogre board, yeah, okay. Anyway, Blood Bowl 7s, we like them.
It's really good, and I think that the other challenge with it for us will be that it's a lot easier to throw together a 7s team than a full Blood Bowl team, and play a 7s league or a 7s game than a full Blood Bowl game. So that is a dangerous prospect.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Because when I said, okay, we're halfway through round 2 of our season. So now's as good a time as any to start thinking about the teams that you want to play for next season.
Yeah.
And already I've got mine pretty much lined up. And I'm not the only one. So anyway, so we kicked off the season. We had all 8 players playing in the one house at the same time on a Friday night. And it was glorious.
It was the fucking best thing ever. 4 games of Blood Bowl, 1 house, 8 people. It was a ruckus.
Yes. We managed to have 3 new players on games upstairs, and then the pros. Do we want to call Dylan a pro? The slightly less new.
Shall we say seasoned?
Yeah. Okay, slightly salted Dylan and Jack playing downstairs.
If coriander can be called a seasoning.
Dylan is the coriander of...
Hang on, I'm just changing his name in the chat.
Oh dear, he won't have any idea what's going on. But yeah, 4 games, 8 players. We had games going on. So we had Halflings versus Black Orcs. We had Snotlings versus Skaven. We had Vampires versus Black Orcs. And we had Underworlds versus Nurgle. Now, I'm playing Halflings. Chase is playing Snotlings. So I'll give a bit of a rundown of my game, and then we throw into yours, I believe, Chase.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So first time using Halflings. I have 2 Treemen, 2 Halfling catchers, and I have 5 standard Halflings, so 9 players or what. Thoughts after the game? Probably need more Halflings because, not all of them stuck around the whole game. And the Treemen, I knew that take root was a thing, and I knew that it would happen. I probably didn't expect it to happen as much as it did.
Well, both Treemen are supposed to average taking root once a half.
Yeah, once a half. That sounds good. I'm pretty sure I got to... It was 4 or 5 by the end. Yeah. So, I've got a couple of notes on my... Yeah, 4 to 5 roots the whole game. I've got a couple of notes. So... Playing Black Orcs, so I'm up against 4 Black Orcs and a handful of Goblins. My first turn, one of the Treemen took root. So that's a good start. So he's kind of stuck That was first turn, so he would have been stuck on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Which isn't like regular Blood Bowl where you're stuck, but you're touching people that you can punch and it's okay.
Yeah. No, he had people skirting around him for pretty much the rest of that half. My second treeman took root. So it was turn 1, turn 2. So that was fun. So I managed to stick some halflings in the way and get hit a bit and then pop back up for the majority of that. He got a goblin towards the end zone and started to stall. Now this is James. This is his first game, so I was trying to help him out and give him as much guidance as I could. So we pointed out, you're at this point. Halflings can potentially score reasonably quickly, so we talked about stalling, which he did for about a turn or two before I got a halfling within range, and that's when he scored. So 1-0 in the first half. I think I had 1 or 2 rounds to score after that. So what I did was I had a halfling. He got the ball. He ran up to a treeman. He got thrown, and he would have gone thrown the following turn so that he could have moved if he'd landed properly. And if he'd landed properly, it would have been like a dodge or 2 to score and tie the game. But he did not. He went face first. So I started the second half 1-0 down. He kicked to me in the second half. He rolled a blitz on his kickoff table. And so straight away, one of his goblins moved towards the middle of his back pitch, and 2 of his Black Orcs came charging up the field towards my guys. By this point, I had about 5 people on the board. So 3 halflings, 2 treemen. But I positioned them all kind of, I had the 2 treemen at the front with an extra halfling and then 2 halflings at the back. The kickoff went wild and was a touchback, so I just gave it to a halfling. And then straight away ran him up to stand behind a treeman to get ready to be thrown. This, having seen what thrown halflings could do if they land properly, terrified James.
Fair.
So he spread out his back line to try and make it as difficult as possible. And he moved his Black Orcs back to be sort of helping them out. Mm-hmm. And I saw this. I was like, right, okay, we're going to play it like this, are we? So I moved my treemen up 2 because they moved 2. And I moved my halflings up behind the treeman again. And I said, your turn. And he's like, okay. Realizing that if he didn't stop me, I'm just going to walk up for as much as I can. So he started to get guys in, and then by the time he got them close enough to get to me, I threw the halfling and made a perfect landing, scored in turn 10. He then had a chance right at the end of the game where he had a goblin right on the end zone. He needed to pick the ball up and with the other goblin, throw it to this goblin, catch it, and run it in. He made the throw, got a perfect 6, and then it needed a 3+ on the last roll of the game to catch the ball and rolled a 2. And this is where the no rerolls, or very rare rerolls, and 7s gets noticed. So ended up a 1-1 draw, which I think was a good result for both of us. Drawing your first game is always better than losing your first game. Mm-hmm. And drawing a game with halflings, I think, is considered a win, isn't it? So let's go with that.
Yeah, I'd take that. I mean, and just to probably, echo the events that happened. So my first game, so I'm running the Snotlings for this season, which is an interesting experience and not a team I had considered up until 7s, but it's kind of gloriously fun. So team I'm running is the 4 positionals. I've got 2 trolls, I've got a fun hopper, which is a little bouncy jumpy squig on a little squig balloon, and a what's he called? I don't know, a fungus flinger. He has a little explodey squig bomb that he hurls. And then I've just maxed out up to my 11 players with regular little snots, which still means I have like next to no team value.
Yes.
Because none of them count.
Pretty much. You're less than half, aren't you?
Yeah. So my first game was against the Skaven. So I had the Rats. And again, Lockie's first game.
Mm-hmm.
So
certainly was.
We'd spent a little bit of time just before going through the basic rules. This is how tackle zones work. This is how dodging works. This is how blocks work. So this gives you an idea of the level of kind of the players that we had. So a lot of the game was kind of going through, all right, here's your options. Here's what you can do. Here's what, here's your options. This idea is maybe better than that idea, but I'll let you choose which way you want to run, which was, good fun. And it keeps the game super light as well. I didn't take blow by blows, but some real takeaways. Man of the match for me was 100% the Bombardier, the little fungus flinger. He was a champion.
Did you take a bribe?
Yes.
Did you keep him on a bit longer than with our game?
Yeah. So I've discovered that taking a bribe is mandatory inducement number 1. So we're definitely doing that in all games from this point onwards. And then, look, to try and keep it a little bit friendly, I ran a couple of the special play cards.
Yep.
Because I think it was like 280 odd worth of bribes, worth of inducements that I had. So the bribe was 50, 2 of the 100k special play cards, and something else. Doesn't matter. So yeah, he stayed on, and he threw 3 or 4 little bombs over the course of his life. And he exploded a little, like there was one stage there that the little rats were caging up, and he just managed to hurl it right in the middle of those furry bastards, and just chaos ensued. So that was absolute carnage. It was the best. How did this play? I can't remember who kicked or received. It doesn't really matter. Things that happened. I ended up scoring with a fun hopper, so I did the little switcheroo. So again, we knew about throw teammate. We knew how that works. So you give a snotling the ball, you stand him next to a troll, you threaten ominously, and then when everybody runs up to the troll to try and stop that happening, you run him out behind and hand him to the fun hopper who legged it to the end. So, we just did that to score, which worked really well. Lockie did an amazing job of just mowing through snotlings with the rat ogre. He just turned into a wood chipper at one stage there, and just
it would have been,
went to absolute town, which let his little gutter runner just, and again, because it's like his movement's that high, it's 2 turns to get him to the touchdown line, which was glorious. So we were sitting at a 1-1 at halftime. Going into the second half, really not a lot had been injured, taken off the pitch or anything, and I decided it was about time to stop that. So I got a little bit angry with the trolls. The rat ogre went silly and legged it into like 5. I had a little snotling cage at one stage there.
Is that a thing?
Well,
it's snotling cage.
It's not a very good thing, but it's a thing. And because the rat ogre is movement 6, so I had the trolls at the front, and then just a whack of snotlings at the back. And it's really not really a cage; it's more just a snotling meat shield, to give me an extra turn to get away. But the rat ogre with A movement 6 and B frenzy just went down. But the good fun with that is he did something. He knocked over some snots and he kind of chewed some stuff. But what that meant is I had the chance to blitz him with a troll, and I had like infinity assists. because he just frenzied his way into a just swarm of snotlings, which was great. So we knocked him down with the troll, and then we jumped on him with snotlings till he get off the pitch. So we learned about fouling, and that was fun. But probably the penultimate kind of quintessential Blood Bowl moment happened in that
I am so glad this happened.
This was the greatest thing. I'm glad how well it was taken, because Lockie manages to nab the ball out of all this, and he has an opportunity to score. It's like right at the end of the game. We're out of time. We're currently 1-1. He can get up. He can make this a 2-1 win for his first game. All he needs to do is make a go for it into the end zone for the touchdown.
And us seasoned Blood Bowl players know how often that role is going to fail.
I know exactly what those odds are. And they are not good odds. But I explained to him how go for it's work, and to score, all you need to do is roll that dice and roll a 2 or more. So that is a 5 in 6 chance that you will make it. Statistically. However, I want you to understand that you're about to attempt the least likely dice roll to succeed in Blood Bowl. And he kind of looked at me a bit funny, and he rolled some dice, and sure enough, that one came up. And he now understands exactly why. That is the least likely dice roll to succeed in Blood Bowl. And I feel like that moment will be with him forever.
Oh, yeah, he's been talking about that.
The game was in the bag. He had the win.
So that's even better than the 3+ that James needed to make.
Yep.
It was 2. It was, yeah.
Don't roll a 1. Just make the go for it, and there's no way I can do this. And it was the best. So yeah, it was one of those games that was full of just fun times and stupidity and, crazy things happening, and then, those kind of quintessential Blood Bowl moments. 1-1 draw. Again, first game. A draw is a good result. And I was playing Snotlings. Can we talk about how much I like swarming as a rule? Swarming is a great rule.
How many Snotlings did you lose by the end of the game?
I lost 1 Snotling by the end of the game. He was deceased. He died. He is no longer a Snotling. He was eaten by a troll.
So it wasn't even the Rat Ogre.
No. The Rat Ogre did 2/10 of fuck all. The one attempt I did to throw a teammate, the troll just ate him.
Which is why the fun hopper is the one that scored for you.
Yeah,
gotcha. Because I had 5 halflings off by the end of the game. One of which was KO'd, but he wasn't coming back. Like, I think I had 2 or 3 rolls for him, and he did not come back. But I had one of my halflings was sent off after an argument with the ref on the kickoff, and then 3 of them were injured, but none of them had any, like, they're not even missing the next game. It was just a standard injury.
Yeah.
So I think I got very lucky with that. Or unlucky, because I really do want them to die. Like, I've named them all the first. Well, there's a 1 in all of their names.
I didn't name them the first, but I'm definitely stealing your idea that I'm just not thinking of new names and calling them the second.
Yep. That's the way it should be.
That is absolutely happening.
Or junior.
Then junior, and junior.
So, yeah, 1-1 draw for both of us. We had Vampires versus Black Orcs, which was Jack playing Vampires versus Dylan playing Black Orcs. Sorry, Coriander playing Black Orcs, which was a 2-1 victory for the Vampires. Vampires are... I didn't watch the game because that was the one going downstairs, and Animal Savagery is slightly worse than Bloodlust. But there are other options, which means that, you don't necessarily need to feast on a thrall if you fail your bloodlust, or what is Bloodlust now. You can actually punch another vampire if you really want to. So there are other options there. but yeah, vampires are such a strong position. Apart from that,
yeah,
the three edge, three strength. Yeah, no, they're good. So 2-1 to them, and then we had Underworlds versus Nurgle, and that game did not go the way I kind of expected it to go. So I think Alice was getting some awful rolls, I think, and like the Underworlds team were beating into the Nurgle guys a little bit, and that was a 2-0 victory for them.
That sounds backwards, but anyway.
It does sound backwards, doesn't it? But that's all right, because who's she up against next? I think she's up against Dylan, so that should be interesting. Yep. And then after that, she'll beat the halflings into the next life. I know that's going to happen. But that was round 1.
Yep. I played round 2.
You've played round 2.
I just jumped right ahead.
Go for it.
Before you rejigged the fixture, so now you have to keep my round 2. So I played James's Black Orcs. So
second game for him.
Second game for him, and like he was saying that he's played a little bit of the old Blood Bowl on the PC, just to get a handle of it and stuff. So he's got a pretty good, and to be perfectly honest, like you wouldn't have picked it as his first game or his first games. Mm-hmm. He's actually got a pretty good idea of how it works, how the game plays out, that kind of stuff. So super fun. Inducement wise, I had a shit ton. So again, we took a bribe. We took a couple of the special plays. One of them got me a set of knuckle dusters for a snotling. So I had a snotling running around with Mighty Blow.
So in this game, you use the special play cards correctly.
Yeah.
Because in the first game, I took one as well. And somehow, even though I had heard the rule mentioned many times, I didn't actually find it. And so we were just drawing one card.
Yeah.
And if it was shit, like it was for the one that I got,
it just made you had a shit result.
That's it.
Yeah. No, so this was kind of like, because we did the whole draw 2 pick 1 deal. So I ended up with a set of knuckle dusters to give someone Mighty Blow, and I'm like, you know what? I have a halfling here that's holding a frying pan.
Snotling.
Yeah, Snotling, that's it. The little green halflings.
No, they're mine.
He's
My halflings are green.
He's holding a frying pan. And, as a little bit of a follow-up from my game with Lockie. So he was the Snotling I basically parked next to Lockie's Blitzer because he didn't want to hit the one with the frying pan. He liked the frying pan one. So he wanted to hit all the other Snotlings. So basically he just lived that entire game because Lockie didn't want to punch the frying pan one because he was adorable. And then, so he was the one I made sure I jumped on the rat ogre with.
That sounds very much like Lockie, actually.
So to follow that up and thinking that this Snotling is now the MVP of my games and the unsung hero, I gave him a set of knuckle dusters and some Mighty Blow, which comes into play later.
Ooh.
So funny games ensued. And then the other one was, it would basically let me, if I had a whole bunch of prone players, I could roll them over to stunned for free. Mm-hmm. Or, stunned, I could roll them over prone. Yeah. That one. So that was fun. I got myself Pres to Nuffle that did something. Can't remember what. And a bribe again, because it turns out they're mandatory. The disappointing piece there is James saw what the bomb could do.
And targeted it?
And made very, it was very specific movements to remove the bomb from the game. The one moment of hope I had was a Black Orc cage coming down the table at me with a little goblin in the middle of it. And I ran that little bomber out and I chucked a bomb at the goblin in the middle, and the goblin caught the bomb and threw it right back. And he ended up nuking himself.
Oh my God, I love it.
That was glorious moments. So look, that all again pretty much played out as expected. The Black Orcs laid into me pretty heavily. They did a really good job at just cancelling out the trolls. Like, he was just making sure that the trolls pretty much either had no one next to them or 2 Black Orcs next to them. One of those Black Orcs has Dauntless, which was very terrifying for me. Suddenly actually getting 2 dice blocks from the Black Orcs without a lot of effort on the trolls was a problem. So he managed to score with a goblin. Look, after doing some pretty tricksy little dodging and knocking people out of the way, and there was sort of a lot of talking, all right, how can I get to where I want to go? Who do we need to knock out? How can we dodge? How can we minimize dice rolls? So a lot of those really good conversations that you kind of want to be having with someone playing a game for the first time, where they're actually starting to get it. That was super cool. Targeting the right players, making sure the bomb was dead. Again, the old switcheroo with the fun hopper meant he scored. Not because a troll ate a snotling in this time. He just, he just kind of swarmed the trolls to make sure that it was going to be hard to throw, and I legged it out the other side. So we were getting halftime. I was up 1-0. Then had to kick back to James, who managed to score with the goblin sometime during then, and then it was kind of, all right, how can I possibly pull out the win? It was that, a couple of turns left. These 6-turn halves go so quickly.
I know, right?
So it's 1-1. It's 1-1, and we're going in, and I'm like, right, we got this. It's not even a problem. I have an opportunity, and it's just the standard. I need to give the ball to a goblin, a snotling. I need to throw the snotling with a troll. I need to stick the landing, and it's home and hosed. So we do that. We have a snotling next to the troll. We give that snotling the ball. We activate the troll. The troll fails his really stupid roll, and
which is a 2+.
Now wasted my throw teammate action for that turn. I'm like, crap, how do we do this? Oh God. All right. And then it was that, all right, well, how do we now make this happen? And it got to a stage where I had to fill up a bunch of tackle zones, chain push a Black Orc to push one of my guys closer to the end zone so he could make it with a couple of go for it's. Then dodge out with the snotling with the ball, give it to him, dodge out, make a couple of go for it's, happy days. Literally failed the first dodge roll. just went to shit. So, look, the other good part of that was this good opportunity to go, all right, here's plan A. It's not even a problem. There's a 1 in 6 chance of this not working. Okay, it hasn't worked. All right, what's plan B? Let's talk about how plan B works. And, getting some chain pushes and stuff. So that, again, ended up being a 1-1 draw at the end of it. Again, super, super fun game. And it was just cool. Someone's second game, and we were done by 9:30. Like, I was home. I was in bed by 10. It was the best.
It's just like everything about 7 seems to make sense.
Yeah. I'll be curious as the season goes along and there's a chance that players could run away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to start giving skills to snotlings just so if they run away, I don't care.
Well, if you give everybody one skill, then they're not going away. It's when you start getting more.
Yeah.
So
at the moment, the way this played out is I figure the two obvious ones at the moment are the trolls, and that's worked out relatively well for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first one picked up Juggernaut.
Yep.
I'll take every day of the week. Happy days. The second one, and after that game, I'm like, right, well, this is good. I'll have a hitty troll and I'll have a throwy troll. And that could not possibly get messed up in any way, shape, or form with this randomizing of skills. So I randomized the skill on the second troll, rolled strong arm. It's just the stars aligning. So I have a hitty troll and I have a throwy troll.
Excellent. No, perfect. I, on the other hand, for my first Treeman skill up, I got break tackle, which is not a bad skill for a big punchy dude.
No.
But when you've only got 2 movement anyway, I don't know how often it's going to be used. So we'll wait and see. But what I do have is I mean, both James and Lockie are workmates, and both of them have been talking about Blood Bowl, and both of them seem very eager. And both of them have pretty much decided on a new team for season 2.
This is
I thought
the
you might be
best.
excited. So, Lockie has got his eyes on, and I think he got his tax return back today and was heading into GW. So,
the amount of times he said tax return during that game's not at your place. I don't know how much he's getting, but he was going to buy a lot of stuff.
He's very keen, but I think I've got a feeling that we may be seeing some bearded people next season.
Oh, he's playing Chaos Dwarves.
Not the Chaos.
Norse.
Not the Norse, no. You were closer the first time.
Bearded people.
But not Chaos.
Bearded people. No, got nothing.
Yeah, fair enough. James, though I thought he might stick with the Blackhawks, has started talking to me today about a certain cold-blooded team.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want to see these guys on the sevens pitch.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Mildly terrified of very excited. Have you introduced either of them to Grubo miniatures yet?
No, I have not. I think it might be too late for Lockie. Seeing as he's probably gone to GW and talked to Bradley, who is incidentally playing the Underworlds team in our league. And yeah, so I think Lockie's pretty set. Anyway, he was very, very fond of the Troll Slayer that seemed to be stepping on his own beard for GW.
I respect that completely. The only reason I thought of it is I'm trying to remember which Cudimals team they did for the Dwarves, but I remember thinking I really like the team, but I really dislike the fact that they're Dwarves.
No, fair call. I can't remember which one it was either, but now that you mention it, I think I've got the Grubo lizards in my head now. I can picture them. Yeah, no.
Oh, the Grubo lizards are pretty.
Ooh. All right, I might have to have a chat with him. Anyway, Blood Bowl, it's a thing. Get on it. If you are at all interested, we are more than happy to run anyone through a game, as you could probably guess.
I will play more sevens any day of the week.
Yeah. Shall we move on? Talk about what's on?
Sure. I'm totally not looking at Grubo right now.
All right, well, I'll talk about what's on. So
it was the walruses that were the dwarves.
Of course. What's the one they've just released pictures of a new one?
They just did one that's basically little monkeys and stuff, right? But it's an ogre team, a snotling team. They've basically gone a little bit different. They've gone, we're giving you enough positions to make a bunch of different teams. Mm-hmm. So there is a snotling team option because you've got little kind of lemming dickheads with a pump.
Sloths.
Yeah. And then you've got kind of bigger, chunkier one. Then you've got big gorillas as ogres, but they're doing a bunch of different kind of monkey positions so you can mix and match and kind of fit your team in. There's a big kind of tiki banana monster.
Some of those are just so cute. Oh,
Maybe I need the penguins. Oh,
maybe you should just link some of those pictures into the group chat.
Yeah, I'll do
just
that.
Saying. Just saying. All right, what's on? Today it is Wednesday, the 14th of July, so by the time you listen to this, it's probably going to be September. No, I like Jace, isn't that bad? But this Saturday, 17th of July, Throw the Dice reopens its doors in a brand new location, 2 meters from where they were. It's going to be kicking off at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a glorious day full of games. I am going to be there playing some Underworlds with a few people, and I cannot wait. I think it's just going to be great. It's going to be great to see what Rich has done with the new setup, new place, which I believe is about 4 times bigger.
Thereabouts, yeah.
So I literally cannot wait for this.
Super cool.
Very cool.
I'm shattered. I'm not going to be able to make it during the day. I'm hoping to get there a little bit later, to check the place out and see what's going on. But super keen to see what he's done with the new place.
But yeah, anyone, if you're in Geelong, come check out Throw the Dice. If you can't get there on the 17th, drop in when you can, because it's going to be one of the coolest little places to play. Speaking of Throw the Dice, I will jump ahead. August 28th is the Winter Wipeout that he's putting on, 28th and 29th. There will be a couple of games going on there. As to what those games are, that's up in the air at the moment.
Infinity is still definitely going ahead at this point in time. 40K is definitely going ahead. They've had to pull the pin on a couple of the games that they were planning on.
Yeah.
What the actual fuck?
I don't understand. Unfortunately, a lack of people signing up for Age of Sigmar.
In the interest of not offending a lot of the local scene, I'm going to keep my voice to a minimum on this revelation.
All right, let's move on before it starts.
No, look, if you can get along to Wipeout, as I said, just getting a couple of different games playing of different systems in the same place, super cool. Rich again has done a bunch of tournaments. It's kind of how he cut his teeth in the local community before he had the store. So I guarantee it will be a really slick, fun event. Definitely happening. The other one I wanted to call out, which is the 24th of July. We're in July. Yes. Cry Hard. So over in the same place that they had the Geelong Town Open, and that they're having Winter Wipeout over in North Shore, but it's a Warcry day. So one day, 1,000-point warbands, super fun. Pip, who's running it again, has run 1,000 tournaments before, but it will just be really low-key casual fun. I think there's a Horus Heresy event at the same time, but who cares? And that's full anyway. The Warcry,
so good.
So much fun. And again, it's going to be one of those really casual, nobody really cares who wins or loses kind of days, where people can just go up and have a blast, roll some dice, and super, super cool bunch of dudes to hang out with. So can recommend getting along to Cry Hard if you can. I'm going to make the attempt. I'm not sure that I'm going to get a leave pass. Sad.
Worth a shot.
Yeah.
I will not be there, unfortunately, but that would be one I'd like to get to. It's a shame. The other thing, Warhammer in Geelong have got a couple of things on. They have started an Underworlds league. So
did I see that you were playing in that?
I am. If I can hobble along to a game, then definitely yes. Very low key. So I'm hoping, because I'm definitely not playing for the all-out win. I'm hoping just to have a bit of fun. So, but they're also doing I believe, Slow Grow Age of Sigmar event at the moment too.
With the latest 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar. I think there's a bit of that going on, and a little bit of reinvigorating. So yeah, keen to see away. That box set is way too pretty.
It is
disappointingly pretty.
Those orcs or orcs.
Speaking of, just as who knows what the hell they're called, but the new 40k orcs is an interesting release, and the Kill Team box with the Krieg.
Yeah, I did see those. They look pretty.
G-Dub worked out how to print money by putting Deathcore in a box. Well done, guys. The only other event I will call out, which, not much of an announcement right now, and you got some time, but the Geelong Heresy 40k event is penciled in for November. Exactly what day in November, I don't know, but there'll be all the kind of usual spruiking on Facebook and whatnot. So stay tuned for that one.
And if you are keen, get in quickly because those spots will fill up.
What is it with 40k events that people know that you just
go quick,
sign up?
They go quick.
Get in there.
Yeah. Cool. On that note, we might leave it there. We will have stuff to talk about next episode. I will have a Dr. Colossus gig to talk about, which I'm quite keen on. And games.
Yeah, there'll probably be some of them too.
Yeah, probably some more Blood Bowl. But I'm kind of keen to get another Marvel game in soon.
As I said, I was just talking. I'm 100% on board. Sign me the hell up. Let's do that too. I actually think that would be another good throw the dice night kind of game. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, let's talk about that.
What's the talking to Rich about on Saturday? Anyway,
so many things.
Thank you very much for listening, both of you. Give us a follow on Facebook, Spotify, Podbean, Twitch if you haven't already. Leave us a review. Any comments, any questions, any suggestions are more than happily taken by me and will be scoffed at by Jace. We do have merch. Links for that are wherever they are.
Yeah, I'll put them in the thing. It's fine.
They're on the Twitch page.
I got this.
I want to thank current sponsors on Twitch. So if you want to support us, if you've got a little bit of money to throw our way, much appreciated. Goes towards paying for the mic, paying for things for this podcast, hopefully. But thank you very much to this month's sponsors. So Alice, James, Sarah, and George. George is an old mate from way back who has played some 40k with me, but he's got a really interesting podcast called The Slow Burn, which is all about wrestling. So if you're at all interested in the amateur wrestling side of things, definitely give that a listen. The other one I wanted to just quickly promote is a gentleman by the name of Jason Bedour. He is an old mate from way back who has made something of himself, which both I love and frustrates me that I could never do what he has done. He has worked on stuff like the latest Joker Harley comic from DC put out. He was the artist on that. He has worked on movies such as Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home. He has done all sorts of things. He has just started doing some Twitch streaming. So his first one was today. If you are at all interested, he's doing 3 a week where he plays Mass Effect, playing through Mass Effect 1 on the first one. Second one, though, he's talking about all the stuff that he's done, which is just incredible. So if you're at all interested in comics, TV, movies, definitely want to check out. So Jason Bedour, I might chuck a link up on Twitch for him as well.
Yeah,
but that's
nice.
It from me.
That is cool. Well, I know what music we're going to play now, so I've got that lined up and ready to go.
Do you? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Is it actually, speaking of music, you threw something in at the end of the last episode, which you didn't tell me about.
No, I know. I snuck that one in there. I was just checking that you're listening.
You know I am. I'm the only one. But little theme song. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was the other hobby thing I did.
Yeah. I don't know how you made a chorus out of Thoughtless Casual Gaming, but anyway. Cool. That's it from us.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Cheers, all. Yeah.
Thoughtless Casual Gaming. Thoughtless less casual.